Sunny to partly cloudy this afternoon. Currently in Washington, it's partly sunny and 93. In New York, it's sunny and 91. I'm Askia Muhammad. Thank you for listening to WPFW Washington and WBAI New York.
Whoop, tap, tap, a tap, tap, whap, bop, tap, a tap, tap. Rosemary in the bag, tied around my neck for my protection. I'm walking around, big old sack on my back, coming in your direction. What kind of tea do you like? I got it. I'm the medicine man, herb from the land, yeah. Oh, I'm the herb man, come see me. Oh, I'm the herb man, you all come see me. See, rosemary, calm your nerves, got peppermint leaf to get rid of my fever. I keep periwinkle to get some love now. Oh, I got hug me clothes to make my backbone strong. Gold cola tonic for my blood, and dandelion for my bones, y'all. Alkali to keep away flies. Hot lady cayenne for my pressure. Oh, I'm the herb man, come to see me. Oh, I'm the herb man, you all come see me. Get the children out the way now. No, you can't smoke this, sir. This is for salad. Yes, for salad. Herb-man, herb-man, herb-man.
And good afternoon. Welcome. This is Dr. Ted Watkins, and welcome to another program of To Your Health. We're excited to be on with you today. And today we're going to take a break from talking about COVID, and we recognize that there are about 4.2 million people in this country that are blind, and there's another 150 million people that they say have refractory problem with their visions that they say can be improved by going to the doctor and getting some glasses. I remember when I went to called my ophthalmologist some years ago and said, "Doc, my vision is getting blurry. What can I eat to change this?" And he told me to I just needed to get some glasses. Well, I got some glasses, but several years ago, I met a gentleman who is helping me to get rid of my glasses, and he's helped. I know a number of you, and we like to have him on at least a couple times a year. We haven't had him on in a while, and so we want to welcome our guest today, Dr. Meir Schneider. Welcome, Dr. Schneider.
Hi, it's so nice to be on your show. It feels like home.
Yes, it is.
And I told you when I talked to you on Sunday, and you were so graciously allowing me to be on the show today, that I'm celebrating because a couple of weeks ago, and I always have trepidation when I go to the DMV, but a couple of weeks ago, I renewed my driver's license for 5 more years. And to just explain
now why is that significant?
Yeah. I see, I was born with cataracts, and it's not usual to be born with cataracts. I think that mine came because of biochemical changes. My father was a photographer in the Soviet Union, and he did something very illegal, which was to sell pictures of the Trinity to churches. It's kind of funny. It's a Jewish deaf photographer that sells pictures of the Trinity to churches, and then the churches...
In Russia.
Plaza, right. And we're talking about those churches had a certain limit. They also had grandfather clause, and they could deny that they just bought the pictures, but if he would have been caught, he would have gone 20 years to Siberia in a work camp. So he put a hidden lab in the house, and the chemicals went out, and I was born a very sick infant and on the brink of death several times. Well, I didn't die, but I grew cataracts, and probably there was a genetic change in my body, and my two kids were born with cataracts as well. So I had 5 surgeries. One was in Poland, and we were able to escape Russia, getting to Poland. Poland allowed people to go to the West, so we went to Italy and then to Israel. And then what happened was I had 4 surgeries in Israel, and 99% of my lens became scar tissue because of working theories that they had in my time, that you remove parts of the cataract and the rest of the lens will work for you. Well, the rest of the lens became scar tissue, according to top experts. And it was a mistake in that time. I don't accuse my doctors for this because they worked with their working theory. The only thing I'm happy that didn't happen is that there was one big professor of medicine who was willing to trade the eye of my grandmother to my eye. We both would be blind for that, I can tell you that. But he died a week before the surgery was scheduled, so that didn't work out. So I'm sighted. So until the age of a little bit before 17, I was basically reading Braille, and then I had a very strong lens, 38 diopters. To just give you a sense, the average correction is about 2.25 diopters, 38 diopters, with which when I would put the page on my nose, I would be able to read one letter at a time because it was almost like a microscopical lens, basically. And then I discovered eye exercises in the Bates method from a high school dropout teenager. My whole family was against it. You could assume, especially coming from a Jewish family, we go to the best doctors, we go to the best professors. How dare you? Okay, well, I met this dropout kid, high school dropout kid, and I did eye exercises, and the teachers were trying to convince me not to do it, principals trying to convince me not to do it, friends were laughing at me, name it. I was passing through a lot of difficult time. I've written it in my book, Movement for Self-Healing. First it was called Self-Healing, My Life and Vision, but it was really, it took incredible amount of tenacity for 16 and then 17-year-old to go against all the social pressure that I was in, and I did my eye exercises. And then the opposition decreased and eventually disappeared because from a place, kids, when we played soccer, there was a lot of soccer playing in high school, they always wanted me to be in their team because when I would kick, they would never know if it would be the ball or the leg of someone, and then nobody was permitted by others to beat me up because, hey, he doesn't see, you can't hit him because he kicked you, So, but I had good kicks. The ball went to the other side of the field. Well, anyway, so basically, I was able, with the exercises, to create enough vision that 10 years later, at the age of 28, I was able to get my first driver's license here in California. So I have my blind certificate for good from the state of Israel, with a lot of rights that you get as a blind person there. You get your phones for free. You pay less for electricity, all kinds of things. And my parents benefited from it when I left the house, unfortunately. But anyway, blind certificate. And I was known to be the blind kid of the 2 deaf parents, Ida and Abraham, in Tel Aviv. They're the blind kid. All the deaf community knew about it. Now all the deaf community is really amazed. But what happened is I grew out of that image. And I can tell you that some people were even upset about it. There was one lady who met me and said, but you are blind, and how come you see me? So I kind of violated her sense. I was the blind kid in the neighborhood, and now I'm not blind, So So the result of the eye exercises is that now at the age of close to 66, I am renewing my license again, and I'm already driving for 38 years, no accidents, no tickets. I just have to correct myself. 2 weeks ago, a parking ticket, which I should have not been careless to get. But other than that, no tickets, and I drive all the time. You won't see me driving from San Francisco to D.C., no. I would fly there. But I would drive to Fresno, California, to Sacramento, California, 3-4 hour drive, no problem. Those are big drives for me. I would not drive back that day. But I'm so happy with my ability and capacity, and I always feel for parents whose children want to take their driver license away and things of that nature. I'm trying to fight for the parents' ability to keep their driver's license, and you probably know many of their stories as a physician. You probably had to deal with that. So anyway, I have developed a whole method based on the Bates method, and Bates made one mistake. He was trying to compete with glasses, like get rid of glasses. But I want to tell you that that's not the point. The point is, people's eyes are deteriorating more than one imagines. Looking all days at the computer is very hard on the eyes, just like sitting all day. I can't believe it that medicine only 5 years ago was saying that sitting is a very bad thing for the body, and they're saying it's the new smoking. I talked about it for 50 years. Sitting is very hard for the body. Looking at computer, even reading books is better than looking at a computer for the eyes and, in my opinion, for everything. The new generation is really losing it by Googling all the time and not reading books. But looking at computers, looking at smartphones is very harmful for the eyes, and the cataract that people have these days in the 60s and 70s will happen to all humanity. It doesn't matter where you live. To all humanity, it's going to happen in people's 30s and later on 20s. We have to start high hygiene, and that includes relaxing the eyes, looking at the distance, paying attention to the periphery. And there are wonderful exercises for that, and that's what I'm going to teach today in my Zoom webinar, how to prevent and overcome myopia and what to do with high myopia, which is a very, very dangerous disease. You know what's high myopia, Doctor?
What is myopia and what is high myopia?
So myopia is nearsightedness, which is a result of the length of the eyeball, which develops to many kids at the age of 12, they're saying. I think it's going to happen much earlier soon, which is a result of changes in the eyeball, which I think are happening because the white of the eye, the sclera, is not fully developed as of then. So because the sclera is not developed, what happens is that the proteins are starting to rearrange themselves in a different way, and the eyeball becomes longer. And then what happens in an older age, like 18 and 20 and 30, when people get myopia, the lens becomes rigid, but also the fluid inside the eye, the vitreous fluid, starts to fill in, and the eyeball becomes longer. So medicine says the eyeball is longer. There must be a genetic reason. And by the way, with all the genomes we know, they did not find a gene for regular myopia, right? But they're saying it must be genetic. And they're not looking at a true fact. I'm not seeing one myopic Bedouin kid because they're looking at the desert. There's hardly any myopia in the Amazon. They can identify for you whether their fruit is mature or it's not mature at the top of a tree where a person with 20/20 cannot even see the fruit. You don't see the Maoris having myopia. So we are not supposed to have myopia. We have it because of use. Now, high myopia is a dangerous genetic illness where basically your nearsightedness gets worse and worse and worse, and the eyeball becomes longer and longer and longer. And many of those people, 20 to 25%, get retinal detachment, which can be operated on, but then the eye becomes weak, and from that operation, often you get cataract that needs to be removed, and guess what? The glaucoma comes right after that. And there are many more problems. I know of one kid who came to me all the way from Singapore, for many sessions, 4 hours each. You know, they came to me from Singapore to San Francisco, the other side of the world, and he was making an exam writing an exam regularly with his 18 diopters, and high myopia starts at 7 or 8 diopters. And all of a sudden, there was a bleeding in his right eye, and he could not see centrally ever since. And his periphery have decreased. And he came to me, and his periphery increased. The prescription is more or less the same, but he sees better with it, and he sees better without it at this point. I had a lady who had high myopia in Portugal, and she was a special ed teacher, and in her 50s, she developed cataract, which is also a result of high myopia often. They removed the cataract. They had to redo the surgery several times. It led to glaucoma. She lost 95% of her vision, and all of her doctors thought that she would lose the rest of it. And I was able to guard her 5% and even make it a bit better and increase her periphery. Before she met me, she couldn't cross the street, and then she could. I myself did not have myopia. They have cataract from birth, which is only happening to 1 out of 20,000 kids or infants, and it happened to me and my kids because I have really probably changed the gene on them, but from all those chemicals. But basically, they see fantastic. My son, with glasses, is 20/15, one line better than 20/20, but without them, without a lens where you should see 2400, which is 5%, he sees 20/40, 80% of 20/20. My daughter sees 20/20, a little bit, one letter less than 20/20 on the chart, but 20/50 without her glasses, and she has a small cornea for which she should see 5%, no lens with which she should see 5%. Between them should be 2.5% vision, but she sees 20, 50, 75% vision without correction. The correction is kind of heavy, but it's basically a third of what it was. So what I want to say is that changes can happen. The ludicrous thing in your profession, Theodore, and I'm really getting more and more to the conclusion that one of the worst things your profession did is it told people that things cannot be corrected, so they depend on medicine and surgery. And the ludicrous thing that they're saying is you cannot change the shape of the eye. Not true. You can change the shape. You know, like they tell you, if you are hunchback, you will always be hunchback. Again, not true. If you have scoliosis, you'll always have scoliosis. I've straightened a bunch of scoliosis in my life. And the idea that you cannot change structure just because it is what it is flying in the face of the fact that people's structure changed and therefore it became worse. You can change the structure, it can become better. The light falls in front of the retina if your eyeball is long. But very quickly, as you do eye exercises, you see better in spite of the fact that your eyeball is long. It becomes more dynamic and it changes. And I will tell you one amazing miracle. A friend of mine, I just wanted to know, I'm fanatic to the truth and I'm fanatic for people. I'm not fanatic for my method. I don't care about my method. If it helps you, it works. And if it doesn't help you, throw it away. But basically what I want to say is this. A good friend of mine with polio, who I was able to keep her out of the wheelchair for 35 years. Then she went to the wheelchair, and then she had terrible stomach surgery. They did one surgery, it was wrong, and then did another one. Well, she lost her vision, and she got cataract, and I suggested for her to remove that cataract because the vision loss was too big. So, and you know, I often don't suggest that. In 80% of the cases, especially cataract level 1, 2, and even sometimes 3, I tell people not to remove it. They should work with the eyes and improve the vision. But in her case, I thought it was a good idea. So you can see I'm not fanatic. And they removed it, and they fixed the lens to see at a distance. So she's supposed to not be able to see from near. And yet, she did the exercise, I don't know if I showed you or not, but with the red and green glasses, where you make the eyes work together. And she was able, the other eye was not operated as of yet, and she was able, with that eye that was fixed by glasses to see the distance, because there's no lens, but she was able to get it to see from near. So obviously the cornea and the retina and the length of the eye have compensated for lack of ability to see the distance because of that lens. She compensated on optical correction.
So what you're saying that she had very, very bad vision.
Right.
Most people that are wearing glasses, their vision aren't that bad.
Exactly.
So if they would start doing these exercises on a regular, consistent basis, they could throw away their glasses.
Absolutely. But the main thing is they will preserve the vision for life. That's the point. I mean, they'll throw away the glasses. I know there's somebody who listened to my webinars lately. She purchased several of them. And within 1 month, she reduced her prescription from 3 to 2. And I had a bunch of people who got rid of the glasses. But the purpose is, number one, when you brush your teeth and then you floss your teeth, nobody guarantees for you you'll keep your teeth. But that's your way of attempting to keep them. If you don't relax your eyes, if you don't compensate for having the computer by looking at a distance, at the end of the day, your eyes will get worse, whether it is with an extra diopter. That means more correction because your eye cannot correct itself, weakness, dryness, pressure, all kinds of problems. That's why eye exercises are essential. Getting rid of the glasses is important, but what's more important for that is preserving the health of the eye. And it's not being given to us in conventional medicine. They don't have physiotherapy.
Why is it? Is it that they don't know this, or they just reject the knowledge?
To begin with, Bates was fighting to get rid of glasses. By then there was already a glass industry, and the medical profession made its mind, and it was in the 15th and 20th of the last century. They did not like the idea that he did that. But then to continue with, people are comfortable with glasses. You don't see well. You meet the optometrist for 10 minutes. You go to the optician for another 5 minutes. And whoops, you're seeing well right now. The glasses are on. People like to press on a button and things are fixed. But once you put your glasses on, you reduced your vision. They've made experiment with chickens, and they found that when they gave them minus prescription, which is the prescription they give to people with nearsightedness or myopia, those chickens would lengthen the eyes within 3 days. So give glasses of correction to people, and pretty soon their eyes will fit themselves to that correction and they'll see worse. And so I think that liberating ourselves from dependency on glasses is so important. Whenever we can take them off, we should take them off. And if you want to put the time, and I think you should, then you're going to make your eyes stronger and healthier for the rest of your life.
I just thought of something, and this may be an unfair question to you, but if you don't know, just you don't know. It seems to me that the body is not isolated, so the eyes affect other aspects of the body. So with the poor vision that people are having, have you seen any impact on other parts of the body?
Of course. A myopic posture is a posture of the head tilting forwards, putting pressure on the chest, putting pressure on the neck, and creating a lot of problems. You know that when you bend if you put your head straight and you put a plate on your head, it shouldn't fall. And the ligament, which is called the ligamentum nuchae, keeps the head straight. The moment you start to bend your head, then you have opposing muscles, the ones that keep it bent forwards and the ones that would pull it backwards, so you would not fall and your head will not be too bent. So basically, a lot of neck tension and back problems come with eye problems. And then the opposite is true. If you're farsighted...
Say that again. Say that again.
So, you know that
a lot
every
of
centimeter...
the back problems
are starting with eye problems, definitely. Definitely.
Mercy.
I never feel as a body worker that I finished anyone's work before I taught them also sensory awareness, whether it is hearing or seeing. You have to work on your eyes to make sure that your neck is not stiff. There's no question about that. And then the other opposite thing is, if you are farsighted and your arm needs to move forward and you wear glasses to read with, your chest is moving forward. It becomes rigid. And that's also a problem of back, breathing, and heart. So the eyes are connected to everything, but I will say another thing. The eyes need good circulation. And if you don't have good circulation to the eyes, many, many blinding conditions can begin, and also even mild loss of vision start with poor circulation. And that is something very important. And that comes your field, Dr. Watkins, where I think that digestion is very important. Because if you're going to overwork on digestion, you're not going to have enough circulation coming to your head, including the eyes that are hungry for oxygen. The retina takes a lot of oxygen in, basically. So I would say all is connected.
The number is 202-588-0893, 202-588-0893. This is Dr. Ted Watkins. The program is To Your Health. We have my friend. I always learn when Dr. Meir Schneider comes on, and it's so exciting because he is helping us to see better, but then now he's saying that much of the back problems, much of the heart problems, much of the breathing problems can be associated with your eyes, and vice versa.
No question. And I want to add one more thing.
588-0893. Go ahead, Dr. Schneider.
What I want to add, sorry, I stopped you in the middle, so go ahead. You can say the number again before.
No, it's 202-588-0893.
Also, our psychological state can influence our vision, and our vision can influence our psychological state. I'll give you one little story that can demonstrate that. I met a wonderful woman by the name of Gina in Colorado when I was teaching a class in Grand Junction, Colorado, 25 years ago. And she told me that she, in her 20s, had a terrible divorce. And she saw everything fuzzy, as if she's looking through a curtain. And everybody told her, go to an optometrist, get glasses. And she decided not to do it. It took her 2.5 months later, and all that curtain and fuzziness disappeared. And then she met me in her 40s and did exercises. And now in her 70s... Hello, do you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now in her 40s... now in her 70s, she reads the menus in restaurant to her friends. Never needed glasses. My feeling is, till the age of 110, she won't need glasses either. So she was determined to not correct her vision with glasses. It's just like wearing braces. She was determined to not do that. And as a result, she is now in her 70s reading menus to all the far-sighted ladies that she knows that wear glasses in restaurants, in dark restaurants.
Yes. 202-588-0893. Let's go to our phone. Just call her. You're on the line.
Yes, I have a question, Doc. What is a good average eye pressure when you take eye drops and when you don't take eye drops?
Well, they're saying that if you don't have a low-tension glaucoma, normal pressure is somewhere between 10 and 20. So if you have 15, 17, or 18, that's perfect. But if you have a low-tension glaucoma, means they found that there is some destruction to your visual field. They like it under 14. They prefer 12. I would say sometimes they do something dangerous when they give you drop and you have 8. The eye becomes under too little pressure, and it could become soggy. So I would say, personally, unless you have loss of field of vision and your pressure is between 10 and 20, and even a little bit above 20, I wouldn't start to take drops, because I think once you take them, it's hard to get out of them. Although my daughter did, but that's a different story. Yeah.
Okay,
but you can actually, with the eye exercises and certainly with the diet, you can actually reverse the glaucoma, correct? And bring those pressures down.
And if you loosen up your neck, most likely more blood will come to the optic nerve, more blood will come to the eye, and most likely your pressure will go down. And I want to tell you something else, that they found that much of the glaucoma is simply poor blood flow to the optic nerve. I think that's a very big part of it. So I want to ask you, listener, what is your situation now?
They should have dry eye, and they has me on drop, so it's probably around 15.
Okay, you have dry eyes, and they gave you drops for dry eyes or for glaucoma?
Well, he said I had a history of glaucoma in my family, so he has a preventive type measure. Since I'm 71 also.
I think it's the worst kind of prevention, but medicine is behind it. I can tell you that. I mean, those are toxins. I wouldn't take it if I don't need it. But, it's really up to your doctor, and it's up to you. I personally, the prevention should be to do eye exercises, if you ask me.
Okay, thank you.
And by the way, we have a Zoom session just when we finish.
I was going to say, I want you to talk about your Zoom session and give. It's a free session, correct?
Right, from all over the world. Last time we had 250 people in that session. So.
All right, and there's a limited number of people that you can take. How would they find out how to get on this session?
Our limit is 500, by the way, so I think we can take some more people. The address is production, like the word production, to produce, production, at self-healing.org.
Production at
self-healing.org.
Healing.org.
You get there, and you get the immediate Zoom code. And people can, if you don't want to show yourself on Zoom, we also leave phone number where you can call to our Zoom session. But I would prefer to see you. And we made a wonderful video showing how myopia happens in the eye, the length of the eye. And we have shown some nice exercise, and we took pictures of the nicest place in San Francisco, by the way.
This is today at what time?
Today it's from 3:30 to 4:15 Eastern Time, 12:30 to 1:15 California time. So I just want to tell you, Dr. Watkins,
45 minutes.
You have an open invitation to come to my home at any time that you come here, and I'll take you to that place that we took pictures of, because I'm talking about distance vision, and
yes.
That place, that distance vision is one of the best things that the lens can do, and the myopic or the nearsighted eye can do. And the place where we went to is Lens End.
When you say distant vision, how far do you have to look?
To the horizons, to the sky, to the horizons. You don't have to see anything well. You just look at the horizons, and you look at 8 or 10 points in the horizons. Then you look at 8 or 10 points. First at the sky, then at the horizons, and you look closer and then closer, and again you put your eyes at a distance. Our ancestors were hunters, and only in the last 10,000 years they were farmers. But what happened is, our ancestors looked at the jungle and at the distance to know what food they're going to have. And these days we look at computers and we look at books and we don't look at the distance. Think what it does to the eye. From the lens perspective, it freezes the lens. The lens become basically sclerotic, so to speak. And all the doctors do is remove it and bless them. They can put an implant. They used to give you thick glasses, but they're doing a good surgery. But that means you're losing your lens. It's just like they took a tooth out and put an implant instead. It's not your tooth anymore, even though it does the job. And and also myopic people, the closer you look, the longer your eye gets. So basically, many people with myopia are, as they look from near, the longer the eye gets. And people with presbyopia or farsightedness, if they neglect their farsightedness and they don't reduce it with time, they definitely will get cataract, and definitely the lens will be removed. So what I'm saying is, working on your myopia is important. If you have high myopia, is mandatory. You should be working on your high myopia, because otherwise, the same time that you're going to put on working on your eyes, you're going to put on doctor's visits. There's going to be another problem, and another problem, and another problem. There's no end to them. That's why we need to work on high myopia. No question about that.
Let's go back to our phones. Just call her. You're on the line.
The same time that you're going to put
yes, caller, you're on the line. Cut your radio off, please.
Yes, I have a question for the doctor. I recently went and had my retina checked, and they said the back of my eyes basically were not deteriorating but changing because of diabetes and high blood pressure, I guess, through the years. And basically he saw cataracts. I refused to take, I was on medication for diabetes and high blood pressure for maybe 4.5 years. They gave me so many different drugs that I stopped taking it. I was looking for holistic ways to control the diabetes and high blood pressure. So basically it's been about maybe 5 years before I've taken anything. And my question is, they say I have cataracts. I refuse to take pharmaceuticals. And Dr. Watson, I left a message on your voicemail. I heard that there is a cure for diabetes, and I was trying to meet up with you about that as well. But I want to talk to the doctor about, I haven't seen the doctor for the cataract yet. That's scheduled for next month. What do you say to somebody like myself that has damage from diabetes and high blood pressure? What would I do from this point?
Well, I think that the three. Let me divide the three things. And by the way, thank you for your phone call. You're the exact kind of person I want to talk to, and I'm very happy that you will meet Dr. Watkins. So, the first thing that I want to say is that forget the medication against high blood pressure. Do the work in my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. Get into our website and get some of my webinars, especially self-healing through movement and natural vision improvement. So take that seminar and work with it. So I would say that forget the blood pressure. In terms of diabetes, you have to be sure that you're okay, that you don't need the insulin or any medication so your cells can breathe. But obviously you are, because you're not in the hospital, you're talking to me. But you have to make sure of that, and I think it's good that you'll talk to Dr. Watkins for the reason that he has education in two ways. He's holistic and he's also a physician, so he will be able to advise you what to do with that. I personally have a wonderful technique to increase the blood flow as a result of diabetes. Diabetes normally leads to poor blood flow and many bad symptoms, and my idea is to have a lot of tapotment, to tap on bones, also to stand under shower massage. I also like wind with light clothes, and also I go to the ocean, like the waves to hit me. So any kind of tapotment that leads to more blood flow. There's also wonderful bonger balls with which you can hit your body with, and all day long tap on yourself and help yourself that way. I will be glad to have with you a Zoom session talking about that. In terms of the cataract, what you have to ask yourself is, how is your vision? Because removing cataract for a diabetic is very risky. I met one guy who had a cataract surgery, and he had diabetes, and they removed this cataract from his left eye, and his vision was 20/20. He was so happy with it. With glasses, he was able to see the distance, and without them, he could read. So he was happy with the surgery in his left eye. But because of the diabetes, he got to a place where they cut his right leg all the way from the knee down. And he had a stamp, and he was very motivated.
They amputated it. They amputated it.
Oh,
Amputated it. Yeah, they amputated it. And his blood flow, of course, was reduced. And he came to me because years before I fixed his back. And they did the cataract surgery now in his right eye, and there was bleeding in the retina related to the fact that he didn't have enough blood, related to the amputation, and related to the diabetes, and he lost all of the vision in his right eye. And they had no idea that would happen. Mm-hmm. And I worked with him, and he started to see light, but then his doctor discouraged him and said, well, that's not enough, so he stopped sessions with me. But I was sorry about that because I thought we'd get to more than that. But what I want to say, my heart was broken in seeing the side effect, because when you have diabetes, you also have poor blood flow. When you have high blood pressure, you also have poor blood flow. So it's not like it's danger-free for you to do a cataract surgery. And you could also have a thin retina. You could also have bleeding in your retina. I prefer to stay away from the knife all I can. So you should have 2 appointments. One appointment with Dr. Watkins, one appointment with your cataract specialist. See where you're at. See how much vision you have. They say as soon as you see 20/50, remove it. I say forget it. Less than 2200, I don't think you should even think about touching your eye. That's my opinion.
Let me tell you a story, Dr. Schneider. I sent a patient to you. It's been about 3-4 months now. She came to me. She had a ulcer on her leg, and that was the reason she came. But she was blind. All right, and I said, look, I'm going to take care of the ulcer, but I want to work with you with your vision. I'm going to work on the nutritional side. I want you to call Dr. Schneider and let him work with you on the exercise side. All right, so I didn't really think she was going to do it, but she did. She called you up, and she started doing the exercises. She came back to me in about 3.5-4 weeks. Now, when she came in the first time, I had to lead her into my office with her holding onto my elbow and help to sit down. When she came back that second time, she was moving so fast with that stick, I didn't have to help her at all. And then when I said, you can see. She said, yes. I went back to the ophthalmologist, and he said that my pressure is down. So just in that 4 weeks, her pressure came down. Plus, he said that the bleeding had stopped, and the retina was flat, and all the edema was gone. That's in 4 weeks.
Isn't that amazing?
She was one of my first patients that I did telemedicine on, so it was about 4 more weeks. She's still doing your exercise. As a matter of fact, she wanted to come to San Francisco, but with the corona, she couldn't come. But she kept doing your exercises. She kept following the diet that I gave her. Oh, by the way, her blood pressure also came down. This time, she said that her doctor had told her now she no longer needs cataract surgery because the cataracts had gotten so small. So in 2 months, her vision has improved, no cataracts, no glaucoma.
Isn't it something?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think I told you the story that I met a kid in Brazil in my last trip to Brazil. That was already when the corona began. But the last trip to Brazil, I met a kid in a town 3 hours from São Paulo called Rio Claro. It's a clear river, although the river there, I must tell you, is very polluted. But that's another issue. But anyway, his father was arrested because he was a part of a bank robbery. It wasn't with drawing guns, but they blew up the bank, destroyed the electricity in the whole neighborhood, and took a lot of money from the vault. And they caught him, not the two partners he had. And when the kid learned about it, he developed a tumor in his brain. They removed the tumor, and as they removed the tumor, they blinded one eye, and the other one lost all of its periphery. So I've done with him a wonderful exercise where he would cover the eye that is not blind. He would look at the light, and he would look far away, would look at the sun, would look at the sky, would look down, and I had a special exercise with light which were blinking, and slowly, within the session, he was able to see better light with his blind eye. But then the other eye saw way better, and I have a wonderful therapist in that city, and she was continuing to work with him. He saw his ophthalmologist, and the eye that was sighted, that did not have periphery, started to have full periphery, 100% periphery. The ophthalmologist cried. He just cried. He said, "I can't believe it. It's so wonderful." Now, he's sending many clients to my therapist there. Her name is Sonia, who is probably the best one I've had. He's sending to her a bunch of clients to work on those things. It's just an amazing thing how kids can do so well in spite of major nerve damage as a result of tumor surgery. So those things are just precious.
202-588-0893, 202-588-0893. Let's go back to our phones.
My good doctor.
Yes.
Okay. My good doctors, thank you for this session. My situation is I got hit in my left eye. It knocked down the two lenses in the back of my eye. And what happened was they went in and they took the two lenses out. I thought they were going to pull them back up and fix them, but they didn't. They took them out. And so that means I don't get any light going through my left eye. So I'm legally blind in the left eye. And then the right eye, they lasered my tear duct. And they said that because the tear duct was, something was going on with the tear duct, and they lasered it, and now I'm walking in a cloud, and they claim that it's glaucoma that's causing me walking in a cloud.
Oh, my God.
What is going on?
Oh, my God. First of all, I'm very, very sorry for what happened to you. I really, really feel it.
Just tell people to stay away from the VA when it comes down to your eyes, okay?
Well, I'm sorry if you were hit in your eye. That's terrible. So the first surgery, my question to you is, do you see anything with that eye or not?
No, and you know, veterans don't die, they just fade away. And all them nice veterans that are laying over there in the morgue, I thought maybe I could get one of them, get on the donors list, you know, and get a couple of those from them.
Okay, let me ask you this question. The eye that is blind, is it legally blind or completely blind? Do you see light?
No light at all.
Okay.
No light.
The glaucoma must be a result of the laser surgery they did, in my opinion, and they sometimes are too casual about what they're doing.
Right.
Because I would never try to do that when somebody has one eye. That's crazy.
Right.
Now, if you have glaucoma, you must treat it as soon as you can, either with our treatment or with drops or together, because you don't want to lose the rest of your vision in that eye. Okay. So if they found that you have glaucoma, it must be treated immediately. One of the things you have to do, and I really hope you joined our myopia Zoom at 3:30 your time.
Okay.
I have do it from the beginning, because first we're going to show this wonderful video. As I said, I want to invite my friend Dr. Watkins to come with me and see Lens End that we're showing for a moment there. You'll learn a lot from looking at it. And I really want you to work. We have a very good sale right now of products. So, for example, Introduction to Natural Vision Improvement, take that video and work with it. And take the video of Self-Healing Through Movement and Natural Vision Improvement. It would be wonderful for you because you want to work on your body and your eyes. And please don't be in any situation where anybody can hit you for any reason.
No, so there's no replacing the left eye. Is that what you're saying?
Don't touch any eye.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't have a knife. Don't have a knife at you in any way.
Dr. Schneider, give the number. Give the address for that session again.
Okay, it is production at self-healing.org. Get there before 3:30. Get there at 3:20 your time, so you can get immediately the email for the Zoom session. And again, if you want to show your face, which I prefer you do, so if you have questions, I can see your face, you can see mine. I may have only 30 seconds to answer, but you will see each other, which I prefer to do. But if you don't feel like it, you can also call the Zoom session and listen to it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
My pleasure.
So it's production at hyphen
is important.
hyphen healing.com.
Org.
.org.
Production at self-healing.org.
All right.
And I want all the audience to be there if we can absorb them. Absolutely.
All right. We're going to try to take one last call. Yes, caller, you're on the line.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Watkins and Dr. Snyder. This is Brother Cherry, Dr. Watkins. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, sir, my brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Snyder, I wanted to ask you a question regarding LASIK surgery. I'm a recipient, and I've actually had LASIK surgery over 5 years ago. But one of the things that I noticed with the LASIK surgery, it corrected my nearsightedness, but my farsightedness immediately came into play. And do you have any exercises for those like myself that had the LASIK who now have to use the reading glasses now? That's what I needed to know.
We sure do. So we have wonderful program, and I have one of them. Get the 2 introductories for natural vision improvement, and one of them is on nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. So on myopia, presbyopia, and astigmatism. But the most important thing for me is for you to understand something. I know how successful LASIK is. It's about 98% successful, and that many people see way better with LASIK. The reason that I have a problem with it is that it compromises the cornea. They make glasses out of your own cornea. And people maintain vision sometimes for 20 years, but the average is 9 years, and then they need glasses anyway. And many people cut their cornea a second time. And the cornea protects the eye and transfer light to the eye. And there's such a harmony with every light ray that comes in between the cornea, the aqueous humor, which is the water of the eye, the lens, the vitreous humor, and the retina. There's all kinds of changes within them with every light rays, which is beautiful for vision. And
all right, Dr. Schneider.
Yeah.
Dr. Schneider, we're going to have to cut. I want you to give that address one last time for someone who wants to get on the program at 3:30 our time.
Wonderful. I'm happy we have to cut because I have to get dressed. So anyway, it is production at self-healing.org. Production at self-healing.org. I would love to see you. People will be there from Spain, Brazil, the Bay Area, the East Coast, everywhere. People will be from everywhere there is a world. So, and Africa too. So I want you all there, please.
All right. Fantastic. This is Dr. Theodore Watkins. The program is To Your Health. My guest today was Dr. Meir Schneider. We're going to see you again next week.
In the bag and tied around my neck for my protection. I'm walking around, big old sack on my back, coming in your direction. What kind of tea do you like? I got it. I'm the medicine man, herb from the land, yeah. Oh, I'm the herb man. Come see me. Oh, I'm the herb man. You all come see me. See, rosemary, calm your nerves, got peppermint leaf. get rid of my fever. I keep periwinkle to get some love now. Whoa, I gotta hug me clothes to make my backbone strong. Gold cola tonic for my blood, dandelion for my bones, y'all. Hercules, keep away flies. Hot lady cayenne for my pressure. Oh, I'm the Earthman, come see me. Oh, I'm the Earthman, you all come see me. Get the children out of the way now. No, you can't smoke this, sir. This is for salad, yes, for salad. Earthman, Earthman, Earthman. Why can't you run my mama thing, let me leave you.
Good afternoon. From WPFW in Washington and WBAI in New York, I'm Darnia Samuels. Here are some headlines for this hour. Coronavirus is continuing to wreak havoc across the world. Globally, there are now more than 20 million confirmed cases and over 735,000 deaths. And a quarter of those cases and deaths are in the United States alone. Though the actual numbers are believed to be much higher, there are over 5 million confirmed cases and upwards of 165,000 deaths in the U.S. And those who have been infected with the virus are not just older ones, but young people as well. A new report by the American Academy of Pediatrics found that nearly 100,000 children contracted COVID-19 in the last 2 weeks of July, which is especially concerning as the new school year has started or approaches for kids around the country. For example, at least 9 students and staffers at one Georgia high school tested positive for COVID-19. Now that school is implementing remote learning for part of the week. And likely contributing to the positive tests was that students were ignoring social distancing guidelines and not wearing masks. 2 students posted images proving this, but they were suspended. Now at least one of the students, a sophomore, has had her suspension reversed. In other news, Dr. Anthony Fauci has previously said that he was hopeful that a coronavirus vaccine could be developed by early 2021. But he has cautioned that the vaccine is unlikely to deliver 100% immunity. In a recent live-streamed Q&A hosted by Brown University, Dr. Fauci said that the best realistic outcome, based on other vaccines, would be 70 to 75% effectiveness. He added, and I quote, "You've got to think of a vaccine as a tool to be able to get a pandemic to no longer be a pandemic, but to be something that's well controlled," end quote. With that in mind, Dr. Fauci continues to advocate face masks, social distancing, and avoiding bars and indoor spaces with crowds, saying, and I quote, "If we do those things, and I'm going to repeat it until I'm exhausted, those things work. If you have one weak link in there that doesn't do it, it doesn't allow you to get to the end game," end quote. Even when a COVID-19 vaccine becomes available, some studies and early polls have suggested that upwards of 1/4 of the population would not readily accept it. Expected to be among this number are some parents because of concerns over their child's safety. In a recent paper she co-authored, Dr. Sarah Schaffer-Deroux, a pediatrician at Children's National Medical Center in D.C., acknowledged that parents would want to know what the side effects to the vaccine are, what is being injected into their child, and if there are any concerns they should have. Dr. Deroux wants parents to be assured that all vaccines have to be approved by the FDA, and approved vaccines have gone through a rigorous testing process, and children's vaccines will be approved independently of adult versions of the vaccine. Lastly, on Friday, March 13th, 2020, 3 police officers burst into the Louisville, Kentucky home of emergency medical technician Breonna Taylor. The officers were using a no-knock warrant and therefore did not identify themselves when they barged into her home. Taylor's boyfriend fired shots at the officers whom he believed to be intruders. In the ensuing gunfire, Breonna Taylor was killed by the police. Those officers had come to her home because they had a warrant for her former boyfriend in connection with a narcotics investigation. But Taylor's former boyfriend lived at a house 10 miles away, and there were no drugs found in Breonna Taylor's home. It's been almost 5 months since she was killed, and the 3 officers involved in her murder have not been charged. To bring attention to this matter, Oprah Winfrey has had 26 billboards, one for every year of Breonna Taylor's life, erected around Louisville, Kentucky, where she lived. The billboards read, "Demand that the police involved in killing Breonna Taylor be arrested and charged. Visit untilfreedom.com." The installment of these billboards, which is to be completed today, comes after Oprah's decision to feature Breonna Taylor on the cover of the September edition of O Magazine, which marks the first time in over 2 decades that Oprah herself didn't appear